Hello, and welcome to what is technically the second day of spring. Believe it or not, that's actually my M3 right there. But we're not actually here to talk about the M3 today. What we are here to talk about is Toyota, baseball, and why am I out here? Let's go inside. All right, where were we? Toyota and baseball. This nor'easter had a predecessor about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Fortunately for me that time, I was down in Florida. So why Florida? That's simple. Spring training. It's in full effect. The season's right around the corner, even if Mother Nature's being kind of an asshole about it. I had to fly down there. Now, there's a couple things you need to keep in mind. Number one, I'm not really a big fan of sub-freezing temperatures. Number two, not a big fan of flying. And number three, not a huge fan of waking up ridiculously early in the morning. Unfortunately for me, those three things hit me in force when I got ready to leave for my trip. So it is about 4 o'clock in the morning on a bitterly cold Monday morning. Why am I up this early? Going to the airport. Where am I going? Back down to Florida. This time we ain't picking up a new car. Florida beats the 26-degree cold I left up in New Jersey. So why are we here? Thing of it is Toyota actually set us up on this pretty awesome trip. We're going to be driving a bunch of Toyotas, going to 3 baseball games, having a good time, staying in pretty fantastic surroundings. So I'll update you guys as I go along, but next stop, baseball. Come to you the next day. Turns out the combination of waking up at 3:30 in the morning and being in the sun all day and up for 20 hours and throwing a couple whiskeys in there, turns out you rack out pretty hard pretty quickly. However, how's that for a view? Yesterday we went to the Braves-Pirates game. Pretty uneventful, relatively boring game. Braves won. Pirates tried to make it interesting late. Game was fun. Stadium was pretty good. You can tell it's spring training because the prices of everything are ridiculous. $8 for a soda, let alone trying to get a beer or anything like that. Now, last night we ate at Eddie V's Prime Seafood. The place was freaking amazing. I mean, as you would expect a high-end restaurant to be. We got to see a McLaren out front, which is always awesome and exciting. A 720S, I believe. If you believe me, they wouldn't let me get too close with it. So it was cool to see that. I know these cars aren't really the most exciting things in the world, but they are the best sellers, plus the CHR from Toyota. So chances are, if you're buying a Toyota, you're buying one of those things. But the cars were okay. I got to ride in the brand new Corolla. They're actually really nice inside. It's got a ton of cargo room. It's only about two, as they described it, 2 basketballs or 2 cubic feet smaller than the Camry, which Camrys look pretty good now. Haven't gotten a chance in that. Did get a chance today, however, of driving the brand new CHR. Those are pretty funky vehicles. The styling, you either love or hate it, and it's a body shop's dream because you can't really pound panels out. Got to replace them. Headlights are weird, taillights are weird, whatever, but it does share Toyota's new global platform, which they're going to be putting into effect in a lot of their new cars. Did get to drive it 3.5 hours from Orlando to Fort Myers, I believe. Decent little drive. It was all highway pretty much. Got great gas, or decent gas mileage. Only complaint is I got a little uncomfortable towards the end of the ride. Seats are a little flat, but overall it's a really good car. Kind of dig, the more time I spend with it, the kind of more I dig on the styling of it. It's different. It's definitely not classic, boring Toyota. They only come in 2-wheel drive now, but they are investigating the prospect of making an all-wheel drive version should you happen to live in the Northeast where I live, which is about to get 10 more inches of snow. Because we haven't had enough this winter, we have to get more. I know it feels so bad for me when that happens to be my backdrop, but I do have to go home eventually, and wasn't really relishing the fact of going home to more snow. Today's game was the Orioles versus the Twins. Pretty high scoring affair, a few home runs, more exciting than yesterday's game, that's for damn sure. The Twins ended up coming back and winning, so it was a pretty exciting game. I don't know if you guys have ever, to those of you who don't know me, I'm a fairly big baseball guy. I played baseball in college. Huge Mets fan. Take that what it will, but hopefully they're better this year. I mean, we got Tebow in camp. Anyway, today I am in the Westin Cape Coral. Pretty nice digs. Not as nice as last night's accommodations, but when you have that view, things could be a whole lot worse. Tomorrow, pretty stoked. We got Yankees versus Mets in Port St. Lucie. Looking forward to seeing the team looks halfway decent this year, or, you know, more of the same. Don't know if actually the world's most famous below average baseball player in the form of Tebow is going to actually be there. It'd be kind of cool if he was. Get to see a swing in person. Best part about tomorrow is the baseball game. Worst part about it is New Jersey, which isn't here, is going to get about 10 inches of snow. So probably going to end up spending an extra day in Florida. Give you a moment to feel horribly sorry for me. Such as things. But we'll pick things up tomorrow. Hopefully that weather misses us and I can go home. But if not, there are worse places. And actually the car everyone was trying to get in and drive was the brand new Camry. I know what you're thinking. The Camry, hardly anything exciting about it. It's been a snooze fest for basically its entire life. However, the new one is, without a doubt, the best looking of any Camry that has ever existed. It's got a 3.5 liter V6 in it, so it's got 305 horsepower, which makes it actually a relatively fun vehicle to drive. It's got a fantastic interior. This one had red with black, which is a combination I absolutely love. The biggest problem with this car, it's probably the best Camry in my opinion that has ever existed. However, the seats, while upholstered very nicely, it felt like you were sitting on them and not really in them. So on the long trip we had from Fort Myers all the way to Port St. Lucie, did get a little uncomfortable during that trip. Again, the seats are firm, so you're kind of, it's hard to explain. The CHR kind of suffered from this as well, in that you don't really notice it until you're driving it for a while, and then you do develop a tiny little backache. But that was at like 2-3 hours in the car, so you can kind of forgive it. A couple things on the trip, pretty nondescript. There was a bunch of citrus fields. It is Florida after all. We didn't enter this one town where it was, I guess it was the town of murals or something like that. Literally every building had a mural on it, which was kind of cool if you're into that sort of thing. But the trip, Camry did it without a hitch. Like I said, just tiniest of backaches in there. Not a huge deal. I'm sure I'd get used to it if I owned the car for more than a couple hours. So the Mets game. Well, there's a couple cool things about it. Number one, most of the Mets were there, save for a couple who were either injured or just getting the day off. Jim Brewer was actually in attendance, which is kind of cool because he lives relatively close to us in New Jersey. I've seen him a couple times. The Yankees, on the other hand, they sent some kind of minor league roster. Lots of numbers in the high 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, etc. The only major league talent they had there was Brett Gardner. He's kind of he's a really cool player, even if he is a Yankee. He gets by on heart, grit, determination, more so than just pure natural talent. Now, he is a ridiculously fast ball player, but everything else he had to work for, which is kind of cool. And everything was going great. Mets were in the lead, we were winning, we were enjoying the day, and then our middle relief decided that, yeah, we don't want to throw strikes anymore. And anyone who knows baseball will tell you that when you don't throw strikes, bad things are going to happen. And eventually they did start finding the zone, but too much of it. The Yankees players, regardless of their ability level or experience, started to zone in on those guys and just knocked them out of the park. I should mention that these were minor leaguers, a couple big leaguers in there, but when things really hit the fan, it was our minor league pitchers. No matter. I had a great time. Camry did great. It was a great ball game. Love going down to Port St. Lucie. I love the old school feel of that ballpark. A lot of the stadiums, or actually the other two stadiums we went to, were pretty much brand new, had every modern accoutrement. This was a lot more old school, had a real old school feel about it, and I kind of really love that, especially being old soul baseball guy that I am. So after the game, the biggest question was not what was I going to drive, what was I going to review next, any of that sort of typical journalistic, any of that typical stuff. The big question was I going to go home? I was supposed to fly home that Wednesday, but... Good morning. It's Thursday morning. I am hoping to be flying home tonight. Looks like this. I mean, as far as places to be stranded, this is not bad. However, it may look like that here. Back home, it looks like this. So I got another day here. Just gonna hang out, enjoy this while I can, feel all my New Jersey friends and brethren basically hate me for where I am. Hoping everybody's safe, hoping everything's good. Should be getting a flight this afternoon and heading home. I hope. Really hope. This may be nice, but I want to get home. Kind of need to get home. Even though I was stranded in Florida for a day, I mean, there are, let's face it, there are worse ways to spend your time when your home is getting crushed by a nor'easter. Kind of wish I was down there now. This freaking snow is getting a little ridiculous. But I want to thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, hit the little thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps us out, and we definitely appreciate it. If you want some Shifting Lanes swag, head on over to Teespring. We got the Team Dadwagon shirt up there and your more standard Shifting Lanes fare. Helps us do things like our builds, go on better trips, all that fun stuff. Find us on social media at Shifting Lanes, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of them. You can find me on all those same platforms at Chenedy83. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.